Hi boys and girls, Miss Starrick here. Today I am so excited to be making a Tide organizer with you in preparation to answer this writing prompt here. I'm going to come back there with you and just review that writing is power. If you look down the side here and you see the word power, remember, power is the steps that good writers take when they are getting ready to answer a writing prompt. Step 1 is to plan, pull apart the prompt. As you can see, I'm all set and ready. I know that my job here is to describe each zone of the ocean and what living things can be found in these environments. I'm ready today to organize my thoughts with you, and that's what we'll be working on using this Tide organizer. Be my echo. Tididide. Tididide. Nice job. Boys and girls, T in Tide stands for our topic introduction. Today, to start off, we will turn our prompt around, our writing prompt around, and introduce our reader to what it is that they'll be reading about. If you look at the 3 I's, the 3 pieces of important information, these are going to be important pieces of information that come right from the text. Details from your brain in orange. You can see it says say more there. That means, boys and girls, you are going to say more about your important information. And then finally, E stands for ending sentence. Let's get started here by making a Tide organizer for the following prompt. I want you to look right up top here, right by Flat Starrick, and I want you to read this prompt with me. 3, 2, 1, go. The ocean is divided into different zones according to how much sunlight it receives. Describe each zone of the ocean and what living things can be found in these environments. All right. I see that my job is to describe each zone of the ocean and what living things can be found in these environments. Let's get started with our topic introduction. Oh, I almost forgot. Boys and girls, to make your own Tide organizer, it's super simple. I need you to take a piece of paper. It can be lined, it can be blank, it can be recycled or the back of something. I want you to take your 3 little fingers, okay, right here. You're going to take your pencil and you're going to make a mark. And then I want you to make a line straight across, okay? I want you to take your 3 little fingers again. I want you to put them right here. Make another little mark and make a line all the way across, okay? So your paper is going to look like this. The next thing you're going to do, boys and girls, is you're going to connect these 2 lines right here to make a giant capital letter I. Okay? And then the last thing you're going to do is you're going to take this middle section here, this rectangle, and you're going to cut it into 3 pieces. These are going to be your 3 I's, okay? So that, you can do that by making 2 lines across. 1, 2. Be my echo. T, I, D, I, D, I, D, E. This is how you can make a Tide organizer at home. For today's lesson, I am going to make my Tide organizer here with you, nice and big. All right, boys and girls, when I'm thinking about my topic introduction, the topic introduction is really important because it's the first sentence in your paragraph, okay? So it needs to be really strong, and you want to tell your reader right away what it is they're going to read about in your writing. That is the purpose of a topic introduction, okay? When we TTPA or turn the prompt around, we basically take all the words in this writing prompt, or most of them, and we turn them around to make a statement. This statement, whatever we say here, is really important because it's going to introduce everything else that follows underneath, okay? This is also a really good way when you make a topic introduction or a topic sentence to make sure that you are answering the right questions. Super important, okay? In purple, again, let's identify what it is that we need to do as writers, what our prompt or job is. It says the ocean is divided into different zones according to how much sunlight it receives. Describe each zone of the ocean and what living things can be found in these environments. So, this is what I'm thinking, boys and girls. Just gonna block this off here. Do the same thing we just did on paper. So make my tide organizer, okay? Now, I know that I am going to inform my reader here that there's 3 zones in the ocean, right? And that living things or different living things can be found in these environments. These are the words I'm working with. I'm going to say, in each zone of the ocean, different living things can be found, right? If I'm going to tell my reader all about the different living things that can be found in each zone of the ocean, then that's a really strong topic sentence. So here I go. I'm going to use these words. Each zone of the ocean has many different living things, period. Or I could say, many different living things can be found in each zone of the ocean. As many words as you can use, probably the better. I'm going to go with my second idea, actually, that many different living things can be found in each zone of the ocean. Okay, nice strong topic sentence. I'm going to make sure that everything I write following this has to do with this sentence here, that many different living things can be found in each zone of the ocean. All right, I'm going to go here to my 3 I's, boys and girls, important pieces of information from your text or the video. So we asked you to watch a Brain Pop video and to read a text called Ocean Habitats. I have it right here. Since I already knew my job, I have already highlighted and chunked and circled things. I'm ready to answer this prompt, boys and girls. So I'm going to go right here to my 3 pieces of information. And I'm thinking, if there's 3 zones of the ocean, why don't I put these 3 zones in order here? Kind of like they appear in the actual ocean. From my text, I know that the 3 zones in the ocean are the, what's the one right all the way at the top with the most sun? Nice job. If you said the sunlit zone, then you are correct. The top part of the ocean is called the sunlit zone. This is where most ocean plants and animals are found, but it's actually the smallest zone. So because they want me to describe the zone, I'm going to just throw a couple words in here like smallest and most life. So when I go to write my sentence, I'm not just going to say there is a sunlight zone. I'm going to say the sunlit zone is the smallest zone, but it actually has the most life, right? The second zone in the middle is called the twilight zone. And boys and girls, remember, a tide organizer is not your place where you're writing your whole paragraph. You'll exhaust yourself if you do that, okay? Instead, this is a time to really just jot some quick ideas down, especially in these middle boxes, okay? Nice strong topic introduction will keep you on track. And then here, just throw in some words. What can I say about the twilight zone? Well, Lena told me today that animals can go in and out of the twilight zone. I might say something like that. I might say that this is the zone that is in the middle layer of the ocean. So any of those words, I'm just going to jot down there in my piece of information for my writing tomorrow or later. My last piece of information should be obviously the bottom zone here. At the bottom of the ocean, the deepest, darkest, and biggest zone is the midnight zone. Okay? And I just said some words like deepest, darkest, largest. Okay? Coming over to my details from my brain. Remember, I want to say more about each zone. I want to double check my prompt as well to make sure that I'm answering everything in the prompt. So let's see. Describe each zone of the ocean. Okay, yeah, I have the 3 zones here. And what living things can be found in these environments? Well, I haven't talked about living things in these environments yet. So that's a great idea to put over here, my details from the brain. What I'm thinking is, what kind of living things or animals can I mention in the sunlit zone, the twilight zone, and the midnight zone? So, lucky for me, because I already had planned and pulled apart the prompt and knew my job, I have, remember, taken some notes here. So, in the sunlight zone, some animals that I found in my reading and from our video that live in this zone are krill. Anybody know any others? Dolphins and coral reef, and much, much more, as we know. How about the twilight zone? Anybody take any notes on what kind of living things can be found there? This article mentioned the sperm whale, the swordfish, and the cuttlefish. Almost done. Let's move down in the same fashion to the midnight zone. We know that the midnight zone is the largest and deepest, right? But we know that that no sunlight can reach the midnight zone. So what kind of living things are there with no sunlight? Well, from the article, I read about some animals called like the Dumbo octopus, the fang-tooth fish, and the anglerfish. And I also made a note to myself here that these fish over time have had to adapt to this environment so that they can find food. Pretty cool. So I might write the word adapt for food, just to remind myself when I go to write these full sentences that I want to make them as information packed as possible. All right. And we're down here to our ending sentence. Boys and girls, a lot of times I tell my writer that the ending sentence kind of comes to you when you are done when you've begun constructing this writing. You don't want to tie yourself to an ending sentence, because once you start to expand and write, you might say more, and you don't want to tie yourself down here. So for your ending sentence, I do want you to keep in mind that a lot of times for the ending sentence, you're going to kind of restate the topic introduction, or kind of wrap everything up in one sentence. What did you just inform them all about? I would probably say something like this: the ocean is home to so many different living things. Right? Or I might ask a question, or I might hook my reader in to keep them thinking. Okay, these are all ideas for your ending sentence. Just remember your ending sentence, boys and girls, is one powerful sentence, just as powerful as your topic introduction, that kind of wraps up everything you just said. It's kind of like, hey guy, listen, this is what I just taught you. One more time in one sentence. See if you can do that. I'm going to leave that ending sentence up to you. Wrap your ideas up nicely, and if you need help, please reach out to a teacher. We'll definitely help you. Boys and girls, the purpose of a Tide Organizer is to organize our thoughts so that tomorrow, or later on, we can get to writing. So just now, we have organized our thoughts. You're getting ready to write next. One thing I do when I finish my Tide Organizer is I kind of look at it. I look at my prompt again, and I say, all right, how can I make these little boxes here of Tide, how can I make them into complete sentences instead of just little words like sunlit zone and twilight zone and midnight zone? So here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to talk it out. Remember, boys and girls, this is our writing prompt. The ocean is divided into different zones according to how much sunlight it receives. Describe each zone of the ocean and what living things can be found in these environments. My writing later is going to sound something like this when I use full sentences. Many different things. Rewind. Here we go. Many different living things can be found in each zone of the ocean. The top of the ocean is called the sunlight zone, or the sunlit zone. This is the smallest zone with the most amount of life. Ocean animals like krill, dolphins, and coral reef live here. The middle zone is called the twilight zone. Animals like the sperm whale, the swordfish, and the cuttlefish can swim in between the sunlight and twilight zone. The deepest, darkest, and largest zone of the ocean is all the way down bottom. That's called the midnight zone. Certain ocean life, like Dumbo octopus, fang-toothed fish, and anglerfish, have adapted over time to find food in this dark environment. Wow, really nice job organizing ideas so that tomorrow or later I can go and put that all into writing complete sentences and transition words. Thank you so much for joining me, boys and girls. Remember that writing is power. P, plan, O, organize, W, write, and ER, edit and revise to make sure it's your best. Thank you so much for joining me. Can't wait to see your work.